the small, medium enterprises and what we call small manufacturers, realizing that indeed one of the presentations that we received said that 95% of businesses in Nigeria are SMEs, and that if we do want to really see growth to be really stimulated and accelerated, that we cannot ignore the SMEs and so that the small manufacturers.
CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele there. Now, a number of deposit money banks in the country have stopped their customers from using debit and credit cards to withdraw foreign currencies abroad. This development has put business and leisure travelers and students in a difficult situation. Findings reveal that the moves is as a result of possible volatility in the currency market. Some bankers say losses by banks last year may be part of the reason for not activating their overseas ATMs, cash withdrawal service. Well, an economist now, Ayo Oyalowo, joins me via phone to discuss this. Many thanks for your time, Ayo. All right, there we'll try to connect with Ayo Oyalowo there to give his views on this very important issue, which has been generating comments. That's with regards to the stoppage of the use of debit and credit cards to withdraw overseas. But as we try to connect him now, let's look at other issues now. We're still relishing the outstanding performance in the equities market for last year, 2017. Investment bankers and stockbrokers have listed factors that will help in driving the equities market this year. Operators say some of the factors will include gains in the Tier 2 bank, continued recovery in the consumer goods sector, ability of the Central Bank of Nigeria to control inflation, and the move by the federal government to reduce the rate of borrowing. Managing Director Solid Rock Securities Limited, Patrick Ezeagu, says investors at the Nigerian capital market gained a total of 24 billion naira for the first 4 trading days of 2018. All right, we'll take a short break now and we'll be back with more on the show. Stay with us. It's Business Nigeria. Thank you for staying with us. Now I have an economist, Ayo Oyalowo, who's going to be joining me to discuss these issues around stopping the use of debit and credit cards to withdraw overseas. Thank you very much, Ayo.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon. Happy New Year, my brother.
Yeah, we should the same. Ayo, with this news coming that the use of debit and credit cards, to withdraw foreign currencies abroad has been stopped. Mixed reactions have actually trailed this development. What do you make of it?
Well, I think we need to be very clear on the issue. It is not a CBN directive, and it is not every Nigerian bank that have stopped such withdrawal. From what we understand, some banks have, while some are not doing such. Some banks are still continuing with withdrawal of using Nigerian card abroad. Now, we must understand that some of these banks have issues with the exchange rate that they use in terms of withdrawal. Some of them have taken some heat in the past, especially during the time when we had this very crazy figure between disparity between Naira and dollars. Although we've had a relative stability, which is a very good thing, some of them are still hedging their bet and being very careful about jumping into it. But I don't think it's a CBN policy, and I don't think it is going to be something that we will live with for a long time. Because since some of the bigger banks are still doing it, it is obvious that the rest will have to join in with time when they are very, very sure that the exchange rate is much stable, and we've had a very relatively stable exchange rate over the past few months.
Exactly, because identifying the fact that volatility in the currency market is part of the reasons why this is happening, and some loss that are recorded last year. So I tend to want to see it that way, like you said, that most banks not do, because many have said this looks like policy somersault. And it could also scare investors away.
Well, I don't think it will scare anybody away. Maybe the banks will have to come to a conclusion. Maybe they want to have separate card for foreign withdrawals, because for banks like, I don't want to mention any bank right now, but for some bank, they have started selling dollar-denominated cards to their customers. So it might be in terms of maybe a change of strategy for some of these banks. So we cannot say, holy, this is what they want to do. Probably they want their customers to have clear-cut differences between your Naira-denominated card and your dollar card. I, for instance, have had my bank send me this email to invest in dollar-denominated card. And I can recall some years back, before we have this general use of any card for some years when if you can recall, I'm sure I remember around when I traveled to the UK then, you have to have a dollar-denominated card for you to be able to withdraw or use POS abroad. So it might be that is the new strategy some of them want to adopt. I don't think it's a standard that you can't use your card, because there's no reason for that. The volatility that was a challenge has become a thing of the past. So there's really no need to be afraid of what we need to even begin to look at is the likelihood of the Naira regaining more over the dollar in the coming weeks and months.
All right, Ayo, before I let you go, in one word, what's your projection for the year? A lot of beautiful figures have been tabled out. What do you think?
My projection is quite simple. Like I said clearly, if the budget is passed in time, if we don't play politics with the budget, then I see a wonderful year economically for Nigeria, because we've had bonds issues here and there, and everything have been oversubscribed. We've had very wonderful budget figures. Even some of the states are keen in. I've seen a few states who you can clearly see that have a vision. For instance, I don't want to mention any states now, but a few states already have budget that you have less of recurrent and more of capital expenditure. So yes, I see a good year. But for the federal government, I fear that if the Senate continue to dilly-dally and waste time on the budget, then we might have a little bit of challenge. But be that as it may, if the Senate is able to get its act in place and we are able to pass this budget in record time, then I see a booming year for Nigeria. Hopefully, they will do what is right in time without wasting Nigeria's time. Hopefully, we'll have a great year.
Ayo Oyalowo, an economist there. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.
Particularly with regards to the debit and credit card issues withdrawal overseas. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Away from that, Nigeria's Africa's biggest oil producer and member of OPEC has suffered fuel shortages over the past few weeks. They complicated transport and hurt economic activities and showed that for many Nigerians, the Christmas holidays were anything but merry and happy. Nigeria is about the only major African economy to experience frequent fuel scarcities. Despite pumping more than 2 million barrels of crude a day, Nigerian crude that has to be imported, almost all its fuel because of the bad state of its refineries. But Nigeria isn't alone. Most countries in Africa lack refineries. Now, a bigger problem is that Nigeria's gasoline prices are often at levels below retailers' cost. The current price is set at 145 naira, or that's for less than $1 a liter, which could translate to $1.52 per barrel, or per gallon, I beg your pardon. According to globalpetrolprice.com, the West African nation is one of the 10 cheapest places in the world to buy gasoline and compares to a global average of $1.12 and the United States average of $0.73 per liter. Now, when crude oil traded at less than $50 a barrel, petroleum was available in large quantity. It has since risen to about 40% to $68, which has now made it more expensive for retailers to buy refined fuel. Very worrisome. More income, but more challenges for the country. Well, I bring in an analyst now. Marcel Ayawu is an energy expert who is speaking more on this. Marcel, it's great to have you join us on the show.
It's my pleasure here.
Well, I'm going to ask you the question this way. price of crude on the high side. We are paying more for refined products. Marketers can sell at 145. A big question there. Where do we go from here?
Okay. The truth of the matter is the Nigerian market has defied the international projection in terms of pricing of local refined products. We have challenged regards to the foreign exchange. You know, over 80% of these refined products are being imported. So the sourcing of a foreign exchange has been the problem. You know how much dollar is or naira is doing per dollar. So it's been a problem to marketers because you have to source for dollar and you have to sell as you source. The issue is that the dollar is nowhere to be found. The CBN is not giving dollars to importers. So that has been the major challenge.
Marcel, yeah, you know, like you said now, the landing cost of petroleum products with the rise in the price of crude oil is at the moment is about 171. We don't refine products here. So it's worrisome. Everybody keeps waiting for 2019 when the Dangote refinery will come on stream. Do you see that as the way to go? What can you tell us about the state of our own refineries, what we've been hearing from the minister and everybody?
My candid advice to our policymakers is to let go of the control of the sale of refined petroleum products in Nigeria. They should let go. They should deregulate completely so that investors and people in the business can take control and sell as you buy. Because when you source these hard currencies, the dollar, you make your imports, you have your landing cost at 171. Mind you, there's a cap on the price of PMS per liter that you cannot go beyond 145. So if you're landing product at 171, how will one expect you to sell at 145? And there is no subsidy.
That is it. But already I think the NNPC, one way or the other, the products is being subsidized by the NNPC. That's, you know, they are the sole importers at the moment.
The truth is that NNPC cannot feed the nation single-handedly in terms of petroleum products. They don't have the capacity to meet our daily demands.
So what happens now? Are we going to open the window for subsidy or give the marketers a window for them to bring in products, maybe with available, make the Forex concessionary rates for them?
NNPC should not have any business in terms of controlling the price of petroleum products per liter where there is no subsidy and where there is no dollar supply. So they should deregulate completely and concentrate on other very vital sectors of the economy. They should do that exactly they did in the telecom industry. They should open up the oil and gas industry for foreign direct investment, for investors to come in. So these policies of holding tight this sector have not really helped Nigeria and Nigerians.
All right, there, Marcel Ayo, energy expert. I must thank you for your time. I know this topic, we'll still have to discuss it more because there are lots of issues, even the PIB and all of that affecting Nigeria's oil and gas sector. But thank you for joining us today on Business Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Well, we'll cross straight to the stock market where TVC News business editor Effiong Ekop is standing by.
Hello, good afternoon, Tolu. The market closed on very high notes. In fact, we've not seen that level of performance in a very long time. The market ended, all-share index, 2.35%. And that's a quantum leap in one day's transaction. That is to say that investors have turned all of their attention to the market and stock prices have started jumping up in earnest. Let me turn now to my guest, Kola Hamzat, who is from Colleagues Securities. Tell me why we should have this kind of all-share index close on a Monday.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here. Let me say consistently that technically, the beginning of the week, the macroeconomic variables they are very positive. People still have a lot of confidence in this market, despite the misgiving candidates here and there, particularly in some part of the country. Investors still have confidence in the market. People are just taking positions. People feel that look, this market will come live. It will come alive this year, and the earlier the better they take their position. If you take the position very early in the year, then you benefit maximally as the year is moving on.
Is it on the back of the performance of the markets in 2017 where it crossed 42% in profit level?
Essentially, before Saturday there will be a Sunday. Before you have a performance today, there will be something that might have happened yesterday. What happened last year, tail end of the last year, dovetail into what we are having now. Whether you like it or not, the thing will continue.
So this is an indication that 2018, the market is going to, bring another level of.
Let me say categorically that technically, we should expect a very wonderful year in the market. We should expect a prosperous, a successful year in the market. Although this is an election year, as we are moving to probably the second quarter of the year, there may be issues in the market. But within now and June, I see a very wonderful market, and it's good for the investors to come to the market, take a position.
Okay, let's appraise market closing figures. We see corn oil coming from the oil and gas subsector to lead transactions with 10.24%, and that's also a big one. Corn oil has been quiet for a very long time. Is there anything happening in the company?
Well, it's we just let me just say that technically we are getting out of oil, call it oil, call it
with the fuel prices outside. The fuel prices outside.
Corn oil have done well one way or the other. They supply product to their customers, and this market is information driven.
Okay.
The slightest of information, it will affect you.
So what do we hear from corn oil now?
Well, whether the corn oil will move, it will do well. The investor, we expect them to come, take position in the corn oil. People have confidence in corn oil because they feel that of all, in the midst of oil sector, corn oil have done very well. And it's your perception, it's my perceptions about how the price of a stock will rise. People persist that First Bank UBA stock is good. They persist that the guy who is there is doing very well, internationally very well. And nothing being equal, everything that concerns UBA must do well. It's a perceptions.
Okay, now let's take again Unity Bank. Unity Bank for a very long time has been dormant, and it's come second on the chart of price gainers with 9.68%. What's special there?
Don't forget that Unity Bank is is belong to a sections of a country. Largely, Unity Bank is being owned by the North, and occasionally you see this kind of rally by the stakeholder from that part of the country. Probably want to take.
Does that explain why Cadbury joined the fray?
Of course, it's part of it. It's part of the whole thing. Cadbury conventionally, and we are seeing in festive season.
Okay.
And conventionally, those are the products that are dominant during the festive season. And because they are dominant, whether you like it or not, Nigeria will love it.
Caller observed. Thank you very much. Time is not half our friend, it's a pleasure that you've come to help us on the analysis here.
Thank you.
That's what we can take this first trading day when the market has climbed 2.38% at its last trade hour. Back to you in the studio.
Indeed, there, Fyong, thank you very much, bringing us up to speed. Well, quite interesting, shows that this level of confidence in the Nigerian market kind of getting more impressive. Well, let's see how it all plays out with stability in the entire economy. Well, finally, crude oil prices firmed up at the global market on Monday on the back of a slight decline in the number of United States rigs drilling for new production. Now, at the London market, the Brent crude steadies at $67 per barrel, while OPEC basket brand moves up to $66 per barrel. And with that, it's a wrap on Business Nigeria. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Tolu Lokpe Ogunjobi.